In this video, we're going to be taking a look at FX Sirch for the Vintage Collection. And he's also known by the more generic name, the Nikto Jedi. And that action figure was originally released in 2002 as part of the Saga line. And I believe this is the second release of this particular character. So I think this is one of the more overlooked action figures from TVC 1.0. If I recall correctly, I think this guy was a little bit of a peg warmer back around 2011 and 12. Similar to like Zamwazel, and I know there's a few other characters as well. But over time, it's another one of those cases where it seemed like he was a heavy peg warmer at the time, but then as more units were bought up from what was left at retail, and it was eventually phased out, and then we got into the Black Series 3 3/4 inch line, and then of course now into TVC 2.0. The prices for him seem to have gone up considerably since then, especially if you get one on the card. But I was fortunate enough to get this action figure from Tongori about a year ago now at this point, a little over a year. And I think I only paid, it was about $30 for him loose and complete. And as far as I can tell, this is pretty close to the regular release from Hasbro. Of course, we know from Tongori every now and then sometimes the accessories you might come with are 100% accurate to what the official action figure comes with. But everything here looks about as close as it can get. So I was happy to add VX Sirch to my collection. It's always nice to get some more background Jedi, and especially some more alien Jedi. And I'm a big fan of the Nikto aliens, so it's nice to have a Jedi version of him. So let's just take a closer look at him. So as far as Jedi action figures go, I think this is one of the more unique ones out there. And some of that's attributed to his cloak here, which is a very unique cloak. Nothing like we've seen from any other Jedi action figures before. It's kind of shredded at the ends all throughout. And it's made of a little bit of a different material than we're used to with a lot of the other Jedi. It's actually a very rough material as well. It's just something unique that we're not used to. In terms of the head sculpt, I think that looks really good. Neutral expression. He has blue eyes on him. He has these various horns, I suppose they are, protruding out of his face. Nice detail on his head and the rest of his skull there. Looks really good. Normally we think of Nikto as like Jabba's goons. It's nice to see them in a more positive light. Nice detail around his mouth there. As for the rest of him, take the lightsaber out of his hand here. I'm going to take the robe off as well. So I like that he has some darker Jedi robes on him. Most of the Jedi, as we know, usually have lighter color robes. And the only time we really see them in this more darker brown color is like Anakin Skywalker, for instance. It looks pretty good. As far as I know, the tooling on this action figure is 100% new. I don't know if this has been reutilized for any other action figures up till now. I can't think of any if it does. He is part of the same wave as the Dagobah landing Luke Skywalker that we took a look at previously. Would recommend checking that video out if you haven't done so already. And I believe the other figures in the wave were like the first interpretation of the Phase 1 clone in the skinny mold, and also the AT-RT driver, which I really want to get that action figure at some point. There's also the Weekway Skiff Master, I think, which I do have that action figure. Hope to do a video here soon. And I believe there was one more character as well. I'm trying to think who it was. I'm drawing a blank on it. So detail in his hands here looks really good. Yeah, he has 3 fingers on him. But nice texturing detail. The back of his hands there. And I like how they sculpted this hand. It has a pointer finger pose. And it's nice to have him in a stance like that where he's like pointing at the clone and be like, hey, you. Then you can rotate his hand around and be like, get over here. As for his belt, as you can see, he does have a unignited hilt that does attach to his belt. Various pouches. Looks pretty good. He does have a soft goods skirt here, which does help with the posability. Yeah, he has swivel hips on him. And he doesn't have the loincloth basically in the back here, so that allows for some extra room. But even in the front here, you can get him in a sitting pose if you wanted to. Could treat this guy as like a generic Nikto and put him in a Cantina display or in a Jabba's Palace display if you wanted to. As for the rest of him, generic pants basically, and then his boots. In terms of his articulation, he does have a ball joint ahead technically, but you're really only going to get side-to-side motions out of it. Up and down, not so much. But that's alright. It's fine for what it is. And that's just because of the design of his head there. It does have hinged shoulders, which have a very nice range of motion. And hinged elbows, which go about 90 degrees. It's pretty good. Swivel wrists, and swivel waist, swivel hips, and then hinged knees, and hinged ankles. So you can get quite a few poses out of this guy. In terms of his weapons and accessories, of course the unignited hilt, the peg at the end here, and this looks like a lightsaber hilt that's came with General Grievous before. It might not be, it might be an entirely new hilt, but it's very similar. It is all in silver, and it's not hollowed out at the end where you can put an extra lightsaber blade in it if you wanted to. Then we have his ignited lightsaber, which is a light blue blade. Looks pretty good. Something a little unique. I do not think there's any variants of this at all. There's none that I'm aware of where some of them might have a lighter blade and some of them might have a darker blade, similar to like the Dagobah Luke. And it does fit securely in his hand. It is a little bit of a tight fit. And if you want to, you can pretty much get him holding 2 hands. Yeah. Something like that. And he stands pretty good on his own. Usually I don't have a stand for him, at least right now. But he's pretty stable. But yeah, this robe is very unique how it's made. It's not exactly sure what material it is, but it doesn't feel very soft at all. It's not very silky. Something different than what we normally get with the Jedi. It's very ragged, but I like the look of it. And it's easy enough to put back on. Get a nice flow to it. The hood could use a little bit of work, but it's not too bad. There's definitely much worse out there. And since this guy is perfect for like a Geonosis battle arena, you could have it where like the wind is pushing his hood off of him. I used to own that playset from back in 2002. It's one of my favorite pieces of my collection at the time. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. But I do keep an eye on some every now and then. Hope to get one at some point. Definitely have much more characters now that I could utilize with it. That's pretty much all I can tell you about VX Sirch here, or the Nikto Jedi. We'll do a couple comparisons, do some more relatable characters with him. Here's with TVC Kit Fisto, which I did do a video of on the channel a couple years ago now. And also the original Mace Windu. They all look great together. Kit Fisto and Mace Windu were from the same wave originally, and I think VX Sirch was a little bit later. His TVC number is 49, and I think these guys were in the 20s or 30s. They all look really good together. But anyways, would I recommend this guy for your collection? I definitely would if you're a fan of Jedi, you're a fan of aliens, you're a fan of Nikto specifically. It's a fantastic action figure. Yeah, it's just another great way to get some more generic Jedi into your collection. Definitely more of a blink and you miss character from Attack of Clones. In fact, I'm trying to think exactly which frames he's in, and I can't think of exactly which ones off the top of my head. But he probably had a grand total of 1 or 2 seconds in the entirety of the movie. But it's nice to get an action figure of him. As I mentioned, there is a predecessor from back in 2002. That action figure, though, is more of a statue. It's not one I wouldn't mind having in my collection. If I ever find it and I find one for a good price, I might go ahead and get it. But this one is probably definitely the definitive version of him, and there's not really a need to revisit it. I'm sure a lot of people, myself included, would like to see a re-release of this. I wouldn't mind getting this guy on a card. I think he would look really good on it. But just another way for collectors to have the opportunity to get them in their collections, and plus it'd be another way to help drive the price down a little bit. As I said, I got this guy loose from Tungori for about $30, which I didn't think it was really that bad of a deal, especially the prices he usually goes for on eBay these days. Brand new especially. Those prices are a little outrageous, I think. I would not overpay for this guy at all. But if it's one you want for your collection and you find it for a good price, then yes, he's highly recommended. Happy he's a part of my collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.